Hi, my name is Madison Jackson, and I'm here today with SpringboardVR as the product lead. And I'm also here with our founders, Jordan and then Jamie Spittle. We just wanted to touch base with our operators and use this as an opportunity to show you our new batch launch feature that's coming out in the next week or two. After the demo, we're going to review what else is coming up in Q3 and then open it up to all Q&A questions. So when you open up your station monitor for the new feature, you'll notice that everything's pretty much the same. You will see a new remote launch button here. And then when you go to station settings, you'll no longer be able to do remote launch anything from this spot. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to remote launch. I'm going to go to Beat Saber. And then you're going to have the ability to launch this as a title, or you can do it, launch them into the launcher. So one really important thing I think to distinguish is the difference between timer enabled and timer disabled. For most of our clients, you're going to have your timers enabled, which means you have to have a booking reservation or a walk-in ongoing session set up to be able to launch on any station. If you don't have any reservations, it's going to appear blank here. And then if you have any stations where the timer is disabled, you'll see over here in your right-hand column that you can launch onto these. Any timer disabled stations do not require any reservations. So we're going to go ahead and launch Beat Saber onto Jonathan and Chris's station. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a reservation so I can show you what it's going to look like with timer enabled. Another great new feature that we have is we have updated our conflict detection. So anytime you add to a group, it'll create another group with that same experience and then just put it on the next available station. And then we can keep doing that until there are no stations left. If that's the only option, it will create a conflict, but it'll give you the length, the time, and the station for that specific conflict. We've also added in here that you can add booking notes for any of your reservations for you and your staff to be able to review. So we're going to set that up, and now we have these reservations available. With these reservations, you can go to remote launch, and now you'll be able to launch anything from that entire reservation. You can launch the whole reservation or just click within it. Now I'm going to go back to Beat Saber. Here. So this is what you can expect to see in the next week or two. Keep your eyes out for an email and we'll let you know once this is available. This is all for this specific portion of the demo. So first I want to open it up to any Q&A that people have over this specific topic, because I want to make sure everyone fully understands how this works. And you can do that if you want by go ahead and asking questions at the bottom of your screen. All right. Okay, I'm going to assume everyone's good for now, and then if you have Q&A, you can just continue to put it in there. And next, we're just going to briefly review that in Q3, we're going to offer monthly and annual licensing. This will give you a lot more options for your commercial licensing and will allow floating. And then by default, you can have pay per minute. So we're really excited about this, and something our content team has been working a lot with our different content creators to make sure you have a lot of options available. And next, I'm going to open it up for Q&A for you just to ask us anything that you're interested in and learning more about what we're doing. And Jordan's going to go from here.
Awesome. Thanks, Madison. So I hope other people were able to get sound there, where Madison was showing you all the new batch launch feature. And so so there's two things really. We want to make sure that you all understand what the batch launch feature is, what it does, and how it's supposed to work. And so if there's any questions regarding that, and if you want us to go back to that screen and do another demo of that, or wait, when she clicked there, I didn't understand, or anything like that, we're happy to go back and review that. But if you don't have any questions about batch launch, you have a question about something else regarding what we're doing, what we've been working on, future updates, etc., please feel free to go to the Ask a Question tab there, and we'll start answering questions. So yeah, we'll wait for questions to come in. But yeah. Yes, it's okay. So first question came in. Thank you, Cody, for breaking the ice. So the question is, when is mixed reality coming? It's a great question, and we're going to have a big announcement for you next week on that topic. So that's all I can say right now is we're going to have a big announcement next week. So read into that however you want to read into that. But you will see next week what we're going to communicate regarding that. But I will say this: if you're like, all right, I'm ready for this ASAP, let's get going. I want to get set up with the hardware and be ready. I'm going to type a link for you all here in the chat. Springboard VR arcades at mixcast.me. Go ahead and email the Mixcast team. Say, hey, whenever this is ready, let me know. I'm in. They have all the information for you: what it is, how it works, what you need, how to set up. They'll take care of you. So it's a great team, and they've got you covered. So feel free to go ahead and email them and look for that announcement coming out next week. So thank you, Cody. Next question from John. Can you give more insight into the process by which you get DLC for arcade licenses? Jamie, I'm not 100% sure what he's asking, but maybe you have a better idea.
So basically, in the future, what will happen is that it'll just transparently update for you if it is a free update. For DLC and things like that, there will be options in the store page. Now, this isn't totally fleshed out. We don't know exactly what it'll look like, but in the future, just like you can, install DLC in Steam or anything like that, that will be available in our marketplace. Now, like I said, we don't have the whole, designs or everything of that sorted out yet, but it's in the preliminary planning stages. So it'll be very, very easy and transparent just for you guys to do that.
Well, hey, I'm more than happy to close this early and let you guys get back to operating an arcade. And so, if there's no more questions, we can end early. I'll give it another 30 seconds or so if there's no more questions, and I hope you all have a good rest of your day.
Ron asked in the chat, will Springboard be incorporating chat features like Discord channels? you want to answer that, Jordan?
Oh, sure. We would like to, for sure. And I think we will eventually. But we think Discord is such an amazing solution and so easy to use that our approach is we like to solve what are the things, what's the low-hanging fruit, what's going to solve the biggest pain points for you guys. And because Discord is so easy to use, it's incorporating voice chat hasn't been as high on our priority list. That being said, it is something we will eventually do. Just don't have an ETA for you all yet. Stuff like flat monthly fees, booking integrations, the PayPal support, those types of things are currently higher on our priority list. Yeah, so Donna, Discord there's a lot of arcades that are using Discord and Springboard, and we should honestly probably have a little guide to help you get it set up, but it's really easy. What arcades generally do is you have different Discord channels. So let's say you have 10 stations, station 1, station 2. Well, what you do in Discourse is you would just say, you would name 10 different channels, station 1 through 10, and then you can just drag and drop stations like 1 and 2 into the same voice channel, and it takes 5 seconds, and then boom, those two stations can then immediately begin talking to each other. So there's a link about it in the community. Mark, thank you so much for linking that. I will hit this next question in the Q&A. Is it possible to get a complete list of games on the SpringboardVR platform, anything other than the marketplace website? I don't believe so, but Madison or Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong there.
So there's not a link for it right now, but it is relatively simple for us to do that. So we can post maybe a link in our community when we get that for you, and we can maybe export it out to maybe a format you like. I'll definitely talk to the other developers to see kind of something that would continuously stay updated as well, because that'll be something that'll be maybe a challenge. So I will go see if we can provide that, and if we can, we'll post it onto the community.
Yeah, and I'll follow up on that, Jesse. I would love to know, you can type in the chat, I'll pay attention. What are you trying to accomplish with that fully exported list? Is it, I just want to look on a piece of paper and look at everything? Or yeah, if you're a little bit insight as far as what are you looking to accomplish with having that full list, that might actually help us give you a better answer. John asks, what is the timeline for Fair Harbor integration? Really hoping that by September it's done. We're just honestly, kind of waiting on them to do something for us, but they've said, yes, we're doing this. Sorry, it's taking a while, so we're just kind of waiting on them at this point, but it's still looking like we'll be end of this month, mid-September, something like that. I would hopefully sooner, but it kind of depends on when they get some stuff done for us. Doyle, during the high volume times, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, often when we click check in, the timer does not start running in each individual station. We are forced to remote in and restart Springboard in order to have it sync to our timers. Is there a way to combat this issue? Is this a server load problem on your end? Jamie, do you want to take that one?
Hey, Doyle. Yeah, so there are many reasons why this could be happening. Everything from issues with our servers or issues just with the internet in general. Now we are continuously updating ways to make the real-time communication better. We're looking at different providers, things like there's providers called Pusher and things like this that we can continuously improve on. Things like batch launch, I know looks like it's just a change to remote features, but what we do is actually combine lots of bug fixes in with these larger releases as well, because we're continuously working on the product. Every single day, we have our devs working, fixing bugs, getting reports and things like that. So when something like batch launch does come out, and every single time you see that little banner that says update and release, we are actively pushing out fixes to pain points a lot of operators have. So we have heard that there are some times when, timers won't be perfectly synced up, or that the timer won't be sending out. And we are always trying to improve that. So to answer the question in more of a vague way, we're always improving the platform. We know that there are some pain points, especially with the real-time communication. So we are actively investigating those and fixing them as quickly as we can.
Yeah, ultimately, we do want to move more towards kind of an offline first architecture. Jamie, did I get that word incorrect? But where we're going to likely be reducing a lot of those types of issues towards the end of the year. There's still a few customers that are having those small kind of issues where it's not being as quick.
Yeah, for sure. So offline first is maybe it is a good way to put it. So it will just attempt to do things locally in your arcade first without ever having to communicate with Springboard VR. And that just means that even if it doesn't communicate with Springboard VR, that doesn't matter, because if you just say, hey, remote launch, it'll just go straight to your station from the monitor, as opposed to kind of making a bit of a round trip through Springboard. That is a big change. There's a lot of reasons why we have the architecture we have right now, and I don't want to get too much into that. But that is something we're actively looking at, especially as there are some arcade operators who either have no or spotty internet connection. So those are a lot of features that we're looking to introduce, and trying to introduce it in the best way possible to disrupt as little as we can.
Awesome. For the sake of planning out my week or month, is there a way to print off reservations and station monitor? So Jamie, some of you guys already know this, but the monitor is his baby. So he's developed the monitor from day one pretty much to where it is today. So he would be the perfect guy to answer this question.
Yeah, so there's actually already a really easy way to do this. If you go to your operator panel, operator.springboardvr.com, you can actually export your reservation data from the location. So you just go admin location, and then you click on the location you want, and then in that page that you get to, it will actually print. You will have export a CSV of booking data, and you can select the time range, and it's a really easy way to print it off. So you can open up that CSV in Excel if you'd like, so you can get a spreadsheet view of it, but it's just a really standard way to pull out your bookings. So yeah, to just reiterate, operator.springboardvr.com, you can just log in. On the sidebar, it'll say admin, click locations, click the location that you're trying to get the booking data of, and at the bottom of that page, you'll see the export bookings. There's probably a knowledge base article for this, and I'll go find a link. Just one moment.
Awesome. Any other questions? Is there a screen record feature in Springboard? When you say screen record, do you mean like what the user is playing? Is that what you mean, Amir? If so, no, we don't have a screen recording feature, but I would highly recommend, if some of you all are new arcades and you haven't heard me talk about Mixcast and the mixed reality integration that we're doing with them, which you'll hear an announcement about next week, I would highly recommend you all check it out. I think it's going to be a game changer as far as a customer experience standpoint, in your customer's level of enjoyment, your customer's level of engagement, especially those who come in with friends and maybe they watch the other person in VR. Mixed reality allows it transposes the user into the VR game, so that people watching them, if they're in Arizona Sunshine, for example, they'll see that your friend in the Arizona Sunshine game, and they have screen recording features. And at the end of their session, they can like look through a kiosk of their session and take away videos or images with your arcade's watermark logo on those videos and images, and then share them with their friends and whatever. So that is super compelling to me, because instead of screen recording, just the VR as it is now in a 2D space or on a 2D screen, you can screen record with the user in it actually interacting with the environment, and you see them, what they're moving around to and what they're dodging or shooting at or whatever. And sharing that with your community, I think, is incredibly compelling, because really people are asking, well, what is VR? And you show them a 2D video, you can't really explain what VR is until you put the headset on, right? Well, I think Mixcast is really going to bridge the gap and help people who've never experienced VR understand what VR is in the first place. So I don't know if that answers your question, Amir, but. I'm not sure when you tried Mixcast, Mark, but they have made a ton of updates to their software, and we've done a custom integration specifically to make the software work with Springboard. That, so you'll be hearing about that integration next week. Any other questions? Well, as I want to, if you all do not already know about our discourse community, I highly recommend you get in it. It's just community.springboardvr.com. This is where a bunch of arcades are in right now, and you can ask questions, get feedback on pretty much anything. What are you guys doing to get traffic on the weekend, or blah, 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 just different things like that. Ask any question, and Springboard is involved in there as well. And okay, we do have another question. On my Springboard settings, when a person makes a reservation, I add a few minutes in setup time. Is it possible to have this setup time add-on included for when I have a walk-in? I.e., if I select a 30-minute walk-in, can it show up as 33 minutes? Jamie.
So this actually used to exist. And we ended up removing it as a feature because it was slightly confusing to a lot of operators. Because what would basically happen is that you'd set your experience time to be 30 minutes, and then you'd make a 30-minute reservation, and then the timer would say 35 minutes. A lot of people didn't understand what it was useful for, but also a lot of operators were like, I already put in that time into what I have my experience to be. So the way that we're getting around this, instead of having kind of multiple ways to do it, we've just simplified the whole process. You can just go into your experience settings and just set it for 35 minutes, and then just charge the same amount that you would for a 30-minute reservation, and then they can just have it for 35 minutes, and it's always set up for 35 minutes, or 33, pardon me, in your example. So yeah, we just simplified it because we found that it was a little bit complicated for especially new arcade operators to have lots and lots and lots of configurations for their times, and they just wanted more flexibility. So we just were like, okay, you can put any time you'd like into the experience, and you can include that setup time if you'd like, or not include it if you don't.
Awesome. Okay. So if that wraps it up, then great. If not, if you have a last second question, go ahead and feel free to ask it. But like I said, check out community.springboardvr.com. Jamie just posted a link there. Get in our Discord, start engaging with your fellow arcade operators. Hit us up at support@springboardvr.com. Of course, if you have any questions, if you don't know, we have a live chat as well if you're running into issues. So I guess I'll answer, one or two more questions here, and then we'll look to close us out. But Doyle just asked, will there ever be a way to add time to multiple stations all at the same time?
Yes, there will be eventually. Like I said, we have to prioritize certain things. There is planning for this in circulation in the product team. I don't know. I can't give you any specific timeline, but this is something that we know operators want to do. This feature will also include the ability to batch select age limits, things like age limits for stations, but also some other things. Like we're thinking of different and more creative ways to solve these problems so that we can hit multiple birds with a single stone. But yes, we're definitely thinking about this kind of like batch actions, and sort of the batch launches. It'll be a similar experience to batch launch, but instead of just for launching content, it will be for adding and removing time and things like that.
Is Springboard needing to keep track of the payments made for reservations and walk-ins? I've been just putting payments to 0 just because I add more time as needed. Jamie, I guess you understand that question better than I do.
Yeah. So early on in the monitor's life, we were thinking about being able to take payments in it. So that if somebody would just walk into the arcade, because we had a lot of operators working out of malls and they got a lot of walk-in traffic. But we realized that because everybody used such a diverse set of payment providers, things like Square, Stripe, they have their own custom ones taking cash. They have a lot of options that we didn't want to say, well, Springboard only works with this or Springboard only works with this. So we made a bit more of a flexible system where it just kind of tracks what you need to charge or tracks what you need to like when you do extend a payment, like what you need to recharge, things like that, without us having to force any sort of payment platform or payment provider. So that is why you'll see booking cards that say not paid and paid, and you can do this sort of payment tracking. Because if you have multiple employees, then you can say, oh, okay, well, employee A made this reservation, employee B extended it, and now employee C will see, oh, they still have $15 they need to pay up. So it's just a kind of a rudimentary system to make sure that you're not losing track of charges as they accrue over the time. Now, you're not forced to use it, but it is a feature of the monitor. So setting it to 0 is an absolutely a viable way to sort of get around it if you don't care about tracking prices in the monitor. But it is just a feature of the monitor, and a lot of our operators do use it and value it as a feature.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamie. And thank you all for joining us. If you're joining us late, we will have a recording for everyone, so you can check that out. And of course, if you do have any follow-up questions, you know how to reach us. community.springboardvr.com, support@springboardvr.com. We're happy to help you guys. We appreciate all of you. We'll probably have another one of these in a month. So early to mid-September, we'll look to have another one of these. And yeah, appreciate all of you. Thanks for coming. And we'll talk to you next time.
Bye, everyone. It's always a pleasure to be able to communicate with you guys.